Hey guys, today we're looking at a new device, this one here. This is a controller with a name that hits harder than a sonic boom. It's the GuileKeys GK-21 leverless controller. Out of the box, the GK-21 makes a very interesting first impression. The sheer amount of buttons are what first catches the eye. 21 different face buttons is a pretty wild choice and might actually be the most I've seen in a stock off-the-shelf device. So if you're into remapping and want tons of options, this may be in your wheelhouse. The buttons are rimmed and most of them are around 20mm, but the main thumb jump function and the far right macro clock in at just a bit bigger. It also comes with a few extra goodies, including a switch puller and manual, as well as some extra switches and caps. The build has a familiar footprint, not too unlike some of the competition, though it is fairly thin, right around that 10mm thickness mark, and then about 300mm wide. The weight is also on the lighter side, clocking in at just under 900 grams, so it should easily fit in your backpack or your fighter jet on your way to the next major. This is how it compares to a few other common all-button footprints. There is no foam on the backside, but the device comes with some adhesive feet and some little angled clips if a user wants to play at an angle. The back panel is frosted, which becomes more obvious especially once the RGB kicks on. Speaking of RGB, we can light this thing up like a flash kick. We've got full button lighting, per key RGB customization, and then that diffused back panel glow with several different light modes to play around with. The device is running on the ever popular GP2040 CE firmware, which means it's got that super fast response time alongside a wide compatibility of systems including Steam Deck, PlayStation, Switch, Android, and Mister among others. PS5 will require a converter that you can insert here, something like a Brook Wingman or Magic Boots, but for nearly everything else, we're pretty much covered. The lighting, splash screen, and button layout can all be tweaked using the GP2040 CE web configurator tool. Just hold down that start button, plug it in, and then type this number in your URL bar. It's a bit of a bummer it has no artwork option, but the little OLED splash screen can give us some flavor to help make up for that absence. The small display gives you that real-time input mode, layout info, and startup screen customization. Here I just whipped up a quick Guile image in Photoshop and uploaded it here so we can keep it in theme. Now, I have another more thorough video if you need some more help changing yours. Now, on that button front, this is actually a 21 button layout. That may feel like overkill to some, but it gives the user a ton of flexibility, especially if you like remapping extras or having unique macro placements. The caps are smooth and nice to the touch, and the buttons actually have rims, which I find to be less typical in these all-button devices. Slides are passable, but I don't think the rims do them any favors. It's a fun touch all the same though. 9 screws hold the device together, and once those are out, we can separate the layers. Inside is everything you'd expect, and a user could swap out rims and hot-swappable switches to their heart's content. However, the stock ones are kale reds, low profile and linear, with a decently fast actuation and smooth feel. Not too loud, not too soft. Pretty much just a Ryu of switches, and this is what they sound like. Something else interesting is that this device has 2 different connection ports for your USB-C cable. Now you can choose the front or the left side. Then there's also a port for your Magic Boots to enable PS5 play. Gameplay-wise, I had no complaints. Clean inputs, zero delay, and solid ergonomics across multiple sessions. If you're used to traditional 12-button layouts, these extra buttons may take a minute or two to mentally assign, but I definitely appreciate a few extra button options. The sheer amount of buttons in this device is not exactly subtle, but then again, I suppose neither is Guile's haircut. You can find these devices on AliExpress and Amazon for around that $70 mark. I think that's very reasonable and a pretty good value, very similar to some of the HOT42 products. I think it will appeal most to players who want to jump into the waters of extra button placements with both feet. All in all, I'd say the GK-21 is kind of like Guile himself. Cool under pressure, ready to surprise anyone who underestimates it, and just like those dual American flag tattoos being just a bit redundant, with all the buttons, this device probably also has a bit of a polarizing aesthetic. But between the RGB, OLED, and firmware, I think there's a lot of bang for your buck here. But you let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks to GuileKeys for sending this one out. And if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Sonic boom that like button, support your locals, and I'll see you next time.